Hi, it's Lyn from the Chattanooga Public Library, and I'm here with Anna from La Paz, who is going to talk to us a little bit more about La Paz and the work that they're doing. She gave us a little overview, and now we're going to get more specific about it. So, hi, Anna.
Hi, hello everyone. So happy to
um,
be here.
oh, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad to see you, even though we're not in person.
Likewise.
Could you tell us a little more specifically what you do, what your organization does, what La Paz does, what you do at the organization that is specific to Chattanooga?
Yeah, definitely. So La Paz is a nonprofit organization here in Chattanooga. We've been around since 2004, and we work to empower and engage our local Latinx community. We do that in different ways. We have a department that focuses on case management and social services, so really connecting individuals and families to the resources that they might need in order to thrive. We have another part of La Paz that focuses on our small business owners. We want to expand economic opportunities for our small businesses, and particularly our Latinx small businesses. And then we have another part of La Paz that really focuses on that education side of things. So community classes, just any programming where individuals can sort of build up their skills and learn something new that they can use either in the workplace or at home. And so we really try to take a kind of more well-rounded approach in engaging our Latinx community here in Chattanooga.
Oh, that's great.
And then specifically what I do at La Paz, I'm the social impact coordinator. I work within the social impact department, and really my job is to connect those families to the resources that they are needing, and to best support them so that they can thrive here locally. So we definitely have served tweens and teens in those situations before. We see teens and tweens that may be living with an aunt or an uncle that are needing some resources. So we're happy to connect with you, despite whether you're an adult, a teen, a tween. We're happy to provide services for sure.
Oh, that's great to know. Speaking of the teens and tweens in the community, one of the things that we've been talking about with them for about the last year has been civic engagements and civil rights and ways that they can directly interact with our political systems and our government here in locally and nationally, even when they can't vote. And so it's caused lots of conversations about human rights and civil rights and what groups might be vulnerable in what ways. And so what civil rights, are most under threat in your organization's opinion for young people in Chattanooga, or the young people that you serve
Yes.
in Chattanooga?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this question. I think it's such an important topic to talk about. I think that one of the issues that is most important to the youth, particularly in our local community, is around equal access to education. I think that is something that is important across all racial groups, all age groups. We know that a lot of our public schools here locally are struggling due to underfunding and the limited capacity of teachers and personnel within the schools. It's kind of an issue of equity. And that's not to say that all of the public schools are underperforming. There are certainly some that are performing a lot better than others. But even in those situations, we're seeing that some of the regulations around zoning are really keeping children from more under-resourced backgrounds to be able to attend those schools. And just to give a little bit more context for our Latino community specifically, and our Latinx community, we have been seeing these inequities kind of play out, and they've been really more clear to us now with everything that has been happening with the pandemic. Remote learning has been difficult for a lot of Latinx families in our community. Some parents don't speak English and are having a harder time connecting their students to the online curriculums and the online classes. A lot of the parents that we work with maybe don't have the ability to stay home and help their children to learn remotely. And many work in essential jobs that require them to show up in person. So we're seeing some of that kind of play out, and it's really becoming more clear, some of these civic rights issues that are happening. Earlier this year, the county announced that it was providing free internet to families that could not afford it. So I think that's a huge step and something definitely to celebrate. But there's still a lot of work to be done. And I think it's up to us as a community to really understand all of the issues that are happening and to be able to take action on those issues. And I think young people, the youth that are maybe watching this or that are interested in getting more engaged in civic issues, you all have a lived experience that brings to life these conversations around education, and you can really be a part of that movement to help move our community forward in that area, I think. I know that Unify Ed is a group here locally that has been doing a lot of work around this particular issue. And so I know that they engage a lot of the youth within our public schools to be able to share their stories and to drive action in this area. So we have been seeing youth kind of engage through Unify Ed and similar groups.
So so we talked a little bit about equity and access and zoning. So, is there a shortage of Spanish-speaking teachers to help our Spanish-speaking students and their families? Is that kind of a shortage, teachers who are bilingual, is that something specific to Chattanooga, or is that something like a nationwide issue, and seems to me to be an impediment for teens and tweens and their families to access information, to be able to make informed decisions about their education, about their civic participation, and about accessing services. So
definitely. I don't have specific statistics, but I think my sense is that there is a shortage of bilingual teachers, not only here in Chattanooga, but across the country. And that might have to do with going back to education, just allowing more people to get through high school, go on to college, and then become certified to become teachers. There's not as much of maybe a pipeline of opportunities there for bilingual and Latinx individuals to then become teachers that can teach Latinx students. So I think my sense is that there is a shortage, not only here in Chattanooga, but across the country for sure.
What would you suggest for our teens and tweens in terms of making strides or steps towards political action if they are not 18 and can't vote? What would be and need to address issues that are specific to the Latinx community? What would you suggest would be their sort of first steps or things to think about so that they could begin to make some actionable changes?
For sure. And I do need to mention that La Paz, as a nonprofit organization, we're not able to endorse a specific political party or candidate. But in general, just going back to my just going back to my comments around education, which is so important. I think the issue of in-state tuition for DACA recipients is very important for Tennesseans and Chattanoogans. Just to take it a step back, DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and it's a program for individuals who came to the United States as children and have grown up in the United States, but due to their circumstances do not have documentation. So currently, these youth are having more difficult time when it comes to attending college and post-secondary opportunities. Currently, they're not allowed to apply for any federal financial aid. And even though a lot of them grew up in Tennessee, when I'm talking in the context of the state of Tennessee,
right?
A lot of them grew up in Tennessee and called Tennessee home and graduated from high school in Tennessee, they would be required to pay an out-of-state tuition to attend Tennessee colleges and universities.
Despite being Tennesseans.
Despite being Tennesseans, right. And so, this out-of-state tuition can be very inaccessible and it's much higher. And just can be a lot more difficult for families to pay. I was actually reading something from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, that was saying that, there are 18,000 people across the state that could be impacted by a change in this legislation. So that's 18,000 people that could potentially have more affordable access to a college education. And I think that number could be higher. That report came out in 2018, I believe. So I think that number could be higher. But the issue of in-state tuition and allowing these youth to be able to attend college is just such a big issue here in the state.
How would you suggest that young people here in Chattanooga develop their human rights or civil rights literacy in terms of learning about our Latinx neighbors and the community here or wider, and how to be an ally, an anti-racist ally in this kind of context?
Sure. So just specifically related to the issue of DACA, since I already had mentioned and I brought that up, I think talking to your elected officials is a great start. You know, the issue of in-state tuition, it was brought up in 2017, and there was really an effort to allow DACA recipients to be able to pay in-state tuition. And that bill, it was called the Tuition Opportunity Bill, that failed by one vote in one of the committees that was kind of set to approve or deny the bill. And so it is so important to, vote. If you can't vote because you're not 18 yet, or other circumstances, there are still a lot of ways to get involved. You can learn about the issues that you care about. You can talk to your parents, encourage people to get registered to vote. That is such a huge thing that I think is really important, particularly given some of the laws around voting in Tennessee. So for example, in Tennessee, you have to be registered to vote 30 days before the election, and some people might not know about that. And so if you can help people get registered to vote, have information about how to vote, that is a huge help. You can knock on doors, you can volunteer with organizations, you can make phone calls. So there are a lot of ways that young people and the youth can definitely get engaged, even if they can't go and vote in person or vote yet.
So do you have any suggestions about movies or documentaries or books or any kind of podcast or anything else that they might want to start with, or to feel like they are connecting with the issues in a way that makes sense to them so that they can act on those?
Yeah, and so when I was preparing for this interview, I found a group online called the Latinx Book Club. And so I think that could be a great starting point. I think they focus on young adult fiction, I believe, teen, tween fiction. So that could be a great start, just learning about different cultures, learning about different perspectives. So that could be something that you all might want to check out. I believe it's at Latinx Book Club, just spelled out, and you can follow them. And I think they have a virtual book club going. But everybody's welcome to follow La Paz as well. We're at La Paz Chat, and we're constantly sharing information about the community, any needs in the community, updates on the work that we're doing. And so we're happy to connect with people there as well.
And they can contact you for possible ways to get involved in the community.
Absolutely.
and making
sure.
changes and helping address some of the legislative issues or civic issues that they are interested in supporting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. The new building is that you all are building for, or renovating, right, for La Paz to move into later this or part of next year. Would you tell us a little bit about where that is and about maybe a little bit of the timeline so that they can be on the lookout for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So at La Paz, we are working on creating a new space for our community. It is an old fire hall, which is located on Willow Street here in Chattanooga. And we are renovating the fire hall, making it into a community center that feels welcoming to everyone in our community. And so once that is ready, we hope it will be ready by the summer or fall of 2021. We definitely invite everyone to visit us, given that everything with COVID is, safe to in-person activities. But we definitely invite everyone, and everyone is welcome to join us there and participate in our classes and programs that we will be offering.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait for that for you guys. It's really going to be
We're
great.
so excited too. It's going to be a great space, and
Yeah.
we really hope the community can use it and find it just a welcoming space to be in.
Absolutely. Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us
Thank you,
about
Lynn.
this.
I really appreciate this.
And
And
we're really,
we
really
are
excited.
so happy to have the public library as a partner of ours.
Oh, and we feel really, really grateful and lucky to be able to partner with you guys at La Paz too.
Thank you.
You know, hopefully I'll see you in real life as soon as I can.
Yes.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
You too, bye.